That's right back, Charlie.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
There's always just that active when defending. I think it's like there's always just that active when defending. I think it's like there's always just that active when defending. I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
Standard procedures there, really. People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. I hope you're having a progressive week. I hope you and your loved ones, obviously, in good health. As usual, thank you for rocking with me, whether you're on Twitch or on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. Let's do what we can for the engagement. Twitch gang, I see you. In fact, on the topic of Twitch, let me actually make sure I actually can see you. Okay, I've got my Twitch manager in front of me. All right, Josh, appreciate you for resubscribing via Amazon Prime on Twitch as well. It says you've been subbed for 8 months. Appreciate that. Happy Tuesday, right back at you. And he also said happy Tuesday in the nation. Happy birthday to Granit Xhaka. You know, our midfielder turns 30. Now, again, I've spoken about Granit Xhaka before. Love him or hate him, fans have to accept. I'm not, you know, me personally, I've always said I like Xhaka. I'm more like him than dislike him. My problem is I think he could be utilized in the squad. I think he could be rotated. I think he's a lot more consistent than people make out. I think he's a lot less error prone than people make out. But ultimately, you know, I don't quite think he's good enough to revamp our midfield or go progress with him as a sort of starter to go to that next level. If you could find someone that does what Granit Xhaka does, then fair play. While I've got a lot of time with Granit Xhaka, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a limited player, but not limited in many ways. And he's experienced. He goes against the grain. You look around our squad, obviously Arsenal fans, it's a youngster thing, but you need experienced players. And, you know, Xhaka probably falls into it, but you look at the experienced players that have recently departed or at this club presently, it's them who got the question marks. At best, with young players, you probably say Eddie Nketiah, whether he can develop to a higher level. He's shown he can have a role in the squad. People might say Lokonga, you know, is he going to start progressing? But generally, if you go through the team, you know, Cedric, is he good enough backup? El Nene is a cool guy, but is that necessarily good enough? Partey, he's quality when he's fit. Whether he's fit is another question. Obviously, we've technically Marie's still here. That stopgap signing didn't bang. Aubameyang, Ozil towards the end, Willian, it didn't bang. So at 30, I do think Xhaka wears his heart on his sleeve. I think he does well on and off the field. I think he's a decent player in it. But my problem with Arsenal, a bit like Aubameyang, we only replace players or look to upgrade or whatever when it's a problem that we can't ignore. You know, I said it on YouTube and Twitch. You lot were following me them times. In fact, not Twitch, we weren't live. In the build-up to Aubameyang signing that new deal, I sat here and I said, we need to know what striker we're buying. Obviously, there was Tammy, there was Isaac, there was now Jesus, there was Vlahovic. But I just feel with Xhaka contracted until 2024 with the option of another year at 30. What if he says, I want to leave? You know, it's not even that things are going bad and things like that, but he didn't grow up through Arsenal's academy. He didn't grow up in North London. He's from Switzerland, you know. Again, a football career is short. You know, what if Jose is able to entice him again? Who is going to be the midfield? I do think Xhaka could be a rotation option. You get an upgrade on Xhaka in the team. You get another 6, maybe an 8, you know. I think you could start to develop some real options. If it was me, 2 6s and an 8. But yeah, happy birthday to Granit Xhaka, and hope we do our thing really and truly, if I'm completely honest. So yeah, man, it is what it is in that regard. Shout out to you lot. Shout out to Granit Xhaka. Yeah, happy birthday to Granit once again, man. Big up you lot. Come on, United trying to help Arsenal win the league. I like, man. Best thing about last night was seeing Stones injured. Derby Day Sunday. Let's go again. Obviously, we don't advocate injuries. We don't obviously condone that because we got to remember that's people's health there. Hector, let's be a bit more mature. But I don't think he was getting at that. I think he just mean weak and City team makes it better for anyone that plays them. And where England's concerned, boy, should have done a watch along. 6-goal thriller, 3-3. I think it showed that. England, I'd say when England were chasing the goals, that little period, England looked really good. They had Germany penned in their own half. They were doing what they needed to do. But it just shows the limitations of certain players. Mistakes happen, but Maguire's an accident waiting to happen. Any defender that has problems when an attacker's running at them, that's the first red flag. And I don't think Maguire's a bad player like that. I don't think he should be at United. I don't think he should be starting for club and country. If he is, then I hope he proves us wrong. But you sign up for what you sign up for. He did lose the ball in build up to one of the goals. As you saw, anyone with a little bit of drip and pizzazz, couple little dummy step overs from Musiala, he's leaving a trailing leg, and them things there cost you. He's probably the happiest man on the planet. He bust case. I know there's a bit of a campaign with Maguire, with everyone to try and condone the nonsense that he does. Harry Kane's talking about he played on one leg. That's cool. Bear man, go to certain man are tradesmen and they've had a bad back for years and they still have to get into awkward positions, pause and that to do their job. So I'm not really big up you for putting your heart on the line and that, but I think why Maguire doesn't help himself is because he talks very bossy, really and truly. He loves to chat. When you see Werner at Chelsea, he basically said, I'm shit. I know I'm shit, but I'm trying. Chelsea fans almost admired him for it. Maguire talks bossy, and I can't blame him. Man's playing for Man United, playing for England, professional footballer. I wouldn't take verbal from 99% of the fans, but play the game. Obviously, Nick Pope's done all right, but he let himself down for one of the goals. There's errors there. Obviously, Ramsdale has errors in him, but I'm always, as an Arsenal fan, going to push the Ramsdale agenda, going to push the Ben White agenda. Why, you got Tamori chilling, eating jollof and drinking supermalt. You've got Ben White probably watching Love Island reruns. They should be in the squad, really. Big up Luke Shaw, because unlike Maguire, I don't think Shaw's a bad player. I actually genuinely think Maguire, you need to go back to Leicester or something. Shaw can do a thing. Shout out Reece James as well. Mount and Bukayo Saka off the bench. Lovely, shock horror, Saka plays right wing and he has a good game. He should have scored. And I think that's the most, for me as an Arsenal fan, the most encouraging, because my unpopular opinion, Saka's not a good finisher. That sounds crazy, but just hear me out, people. He's obviously developed, as I always say, for me anyways, to be a goal scorer, you got to be doing this thing for years. Saka is learning to get there. He's had one real standout goal scoring season in terms of productivity, goals and assists, like Smith Rowe. He's learning how to score goals. Even last season, he's bagging, I look back at Southampton away, probably City as well, like Martinelli. Saka does miss some chances, and you saw fantastic breakaway. For all he did, he probably should have scored. Good defending from Germany, but he probably should have scored. But it was a confident Saka. Shock horror. You play him right wing. He links up in the half spaces. He takes his man on. He looked confident. He impacted. Big up Mount as well off the bench. They changed the game. Jude Bellingham, lovely to watch as well with Declan Rice in the middle. There's a lot of positives with England. But yeah, shock horror. You play Saka right wing. He does all right. I do think Saka can do a job at left back. You look at players around the I don't even know the word. Is it continent? Around the continent, I guess, with Europe. Kimmich is playing centre mid. He can play right back. Couple man can do jobs. Southgate, Saka can't play the left back thing for you. He can't do it for you. He can't do the job for you because you're a conservative manager. You don't breed attackers. Every attacker, until he revises something, is going to be limited. Kane looks like a dud. Saka was looking like a dud last game. Done well. It just looks like square pegs in round holes. And for me, with Southgate, obviously you can pick whoever you want. It's you're the manager. If it goes tits up, at least you said you do it your way. But when he says, I can't pick players based on form, you only get into the team on form, it doesn't make sense, And I see Jamie Carragher's comments about, Ben White's playing right back and he's not going to get in the England team because it's about centre back. What about Kyle flipping Walker? He plays centre back for England and plays full back. What are you talking about? It's talking nonsense. Again, is Maguire the best of a bad bunch? If you're going to alienate Ben White, Tomori, if Gomez's form's poor, and you're not going to put Declan Rice centre back, which isn't going to happen for club or country right now, then I don't understand Maguire, but I can understand, because then you get into that territory, if Stones is injured, of having Konza, Mings and Maguire. I think Mings is better than them. I think Maguire is better than them, but that's nothing to be proud of, really and truly. So I do think, none of these, you're never going to see. Even if Trent gets in the team, Reece James, Mount, all of these guys are not really going to thrive under a conservative manager. Sancho, who should also be in the team, is long. Like he can't do this thing. Obviously you need to find balance. If you want to be an attacking team, you need to be able to defend. But England are in trouble, you know. And I say that the results that well, you know, no winning six, as much as the fight back was good, but no winning six going into the last international break, going into the World Cup. And the bulk of the players you've seen called up are the ones that are gonna go. You know, the only ones that probably tip the balance maybe are the Rashfords, the Sanchos, the Ben Whites, you know, people that Tomori, you know, well, they're in the squad, but the Tomoris, the Bowens, you know, them guys that got called up but weren't in both matchday squads. The bulk of every international squad for that World Cup is done. Unless there's a madness going on and a mad PR campaign, there's not going to be any surprises, really and truly. Form can dictate things. That's why you're not going to see a wavy Grealish. Results don't really make sense because he got to the semi-finals of the World Cup. He did get to the finals of the Euros, but it's looking long, really. You know, it's a bit of a joke. I don't know why he doesn't rate Trent, but he's playing Reece James, so I've got no issues in that regards. I understand if he thinks Trent's a bit too frail in a team where, as I said, he's going to be defensively where he wants to be a bit conservative and stuff like that. But yeah, man, you know, again, you hear the way he talks and stuff like that. He's very defiant. So let's just hope it gets off to the right track at the World Cup where the man them are concerned. You know, I'm doing this France and Brazil thing. Shout out the man them for England and the true ones, but that's about it, really and truly. Upgrade required. Right wing. Different gravy. And again, there's a lot of imbalance, really and truly. Yeah, the subs chased the game, but it showed, you know, the game was flat for large periods. Like I said, the second half was a mazza. You know, there was a real strong period where England looked like they could win it. Maybe if Pope does a bit better, they win it. I don't like to just focus, even Maguire, I don't like to focus on just individual mistakes because moments change games. These things do change games, but at the same time, these are 1-2 minute flashpoints. You know, at best, let's say Pope, let's just give it 2 minutes. Maguire, you know, let's turn it to 6 minutes for 2 mistakes, the penalty and losing the ball up the field. Reece James lost the ball for one of them. But what did we do across the other 80 minutes to get the win? Not everybody did a madness. So I'm not really sure, man. And again, I'm not even vexed with the back three thing because I've seen attacking back threes. It's as defensive or as offensive as you want. He's not really on this, really, if I'm honest with you. So it's a bit of a madness. I don't think a single player is going to thrive like that. And he could sit there and say, you know what, DG, you're talking nonsense because Harry Kane last World Cup got the golden boot. But we all know it was Banduli. You know, I'm sorry, but you've got a wealth of attackers there. Sancho not in the squad, Saka right wing. You know, you've got Harry Keza, you've got Grealish, you've got Foldinho, you've got Bear Dons. And again, just because you've got attackers, you do need to defend, but we don't look that wavy defensively. And attacking is square pegs in round holes, really. So I don't know, man. I think Maguire is going to cost Southgate his job. He's going to cost himself his job at this point. If you're picking Maguire, bro, Maguire knows he shouldn't be picked, even though he comes out and says, oh, look at my statistics and all of this BS, which doesn't help him. Big up you lot, man. Keep your opinions, talking points, etc. coming. Please make sure you smash the like button. And appreciative to all of you lot that have kept the channel going during the international period. And because last time I checked, I think we got 49.893 subscribers, so we're flirting with 50,000. Shout out the Twitch gang as well. But what have you said, Mike? Maguire and Shaw ain't played this year. He's just bringing in his favorites. He said he wants guys that understand the team and the way they play, but top professional, they should be able to adapt. I hear it because I think you got to find balance. You can't just bring everybody who's doing well. You've got to pick players you quote unquote trust as well. But it's crazy, man. Man said Danny Rose has played more minutes for England under Southgate than Trent. He's just not rating, man. Hope you're doing well and safe, Twitch ones. Yo, DG, what's going on? Just reach. I was at the match yesterday, but I was working at Wembley. Shout the 9-to-5ers. But England, bruh, the gerbil is a gonna get the brown bag, bit harsh. It takes desperation for England to start attacking, and that's the problem. World Cup's a different ball game. You know, it's a different ball game. Southgate should have used the last 3 England games to experiment with players that haven't been selected before. It's like he's being held at gunpoint to play certain dons that ain't cutting it. I don't think he's being held at gunpoint. I think he's doing it off his own accord. Duds play duds. You know, Southgate was a dud. That's why he fucks with That's why he fucks with Maguire. Let's remember he was a shit baller. You know, what's his biggest highlight? I swear someone headbutted him or something or banged him, and obviously the Biss penalty. He was a joke, man. Middlesbrough and that. Oh, listen, I want to be a professional footballer. I wanted to be a professional footballer. I'll accept that, you know, being a joke man and that. But he was a joke man. Duds play duds. Duds circulate with duds. Real dons play with real dons. Why do you think the real G's, Wenger could rely on them? The real, and then the fake ones, Wenger couldn't rely on them. Jose never has bust-ups with the real dons. He has bust-up with the soft youths. You know, birds of a feather flock together and all of that stuff, man. As they say. Dyer, White, Tomori, all miles ahead of Maguire. Exactly, but them and they, it's they haven't been involved in the England setup as much. Maguire's gone off to camps and things and been with the England squad. This is a luxury that's going to be afforded to him, Cody, a lot of these guys. Big up. I know Dyer's a spud, but I think including this start to this season and last season, I think he's deserved to get recalled and he's patterning. Mings is horrible. That's the one guy I think's better than Maguire. I mean, Maguire's better than. I agree about his finishing. If he improves that, he's going to be different gravy. Of course, in relation to Saka, but I expect that. You're 21. I know you're almost like 50 because you've had to, life has come at Saka really quickly. He's gone up the levels really quickly. We've blinked and he's gone from playing in the Europa League to playing for club and country. He's one of the first names on the team sheet at Arsenal. But for me, that's the most exciting. I expect you to be that. At young 21 years of age, I don't expect you to be a monster in front of goal. That's the most encouraging thing with Saka. If he could just pattern the finishing, how these left footers, the right foot's a bit meaty, he'd be lit. Just keep working, man. Been saying this, Saka ain't a great goal scorer, but luckily he can be. He's got everything else, including the mentality to want to be better. A lot of players ain't got that. Saka's been coached on starting positions. He's getting closer to the far post when the ball is on the left wing, highlighted in the tactic show. I don't know for no tactic show, but you can, the modern day wingers, they're in that half space. They're not on the flanks collecting chalk on their boots. They're not exactly near the fullback or near the centre backs. They're in that half space. And Saka was doing that Arsenal thing yesterday. You saw the build up for one of the goals. Well, two of them. He was wavy in that regards. Unpopular opinion, I think. Obviously, I'm always going to advocate for Saka, but England should be in a position where Saka could not necessarily start week in, week out, be an impact player. I think for the international game's a whole different ball game, as you lot know. Nick Pope had his chance; he can't be starting again. You can't ask Nick Pope to play out from the back. I'm not being funny. At Burnley or wherever he is now, he's never had to do that. You suddenly ask for that, man. Are gonna make mistakes. I do think a professional footballer should be able to pass the ball. Pope deserves to be in the squad. Ramsdale has errors in him. I'm always going to advocate for Ramsdale to play ahead, but I can't really be surprised if you're playing someone that United dropped. Shit is getting better for them. Pope is wherever he is, not to be snooty. It's not banging. It's not banging. Shout out Marcel. Big up DG. Your star boy let down the nation once again. He should have scored that breakaway. Your star boy don't play, man. You allow it, mate. Yeah, I mean, you said you're just playing. Saka changed the game, for England. If he does well, it's great. If he doesn't, then Van Babylon, innit? I'm always a winner when it comes to England. I can't lie to you. As long as you do what you need to do for Arsenal, that's all I care about. Starting on Saturday, Starboy. Southgate is the first manager in the history of football to get relegated as a player, club manager, and international. Crazy. Starboy settings that second half was crazy. Shout to you lot. Man said winger that plays both sides, 6 and an 8, and an upgrade on an 8 are biggest needs. I hear that. Xhaka wants to become an Arsenal legend. Big up Xhaka, but I don't legend. If we're on that term, you'll never be an Arsenal legend. Just because even if you scored the winning goal in the Champions League final, some fans would never forgive you. Legend for me is Henry, Bergkamp, or Adams, Vieira, these sort of man. He will never be that. I think when he does leave Arsenal, people, like myself, big up you, because I've never had to question your integrity. And I like to see, for me anyways, I'm a bit shocked at all this hype about Xhaka playing as this advanced 8. I know he's playing well and stuff, but he was kind of doing this last year. Xhaka has played a number of roles at Arsenal, whether he's done well or not. He's never hidden. I like his mentality. I like the fact that he's never hidden. Do I think he's limited? Yes. Do I think he can take us to that next level? If we want to be a consistent Champions League club, we need to look at what City have. Obviously, we ain't got that, but them sort of guys there, I always give Kovacic as the example. He's at Chelsea and you can't go and find him right now, but we need guys with that sort of skill set. With Xhaka, he's obviously a very good technical footballer. He's a professional footballer starting for club and country. But, if Xhaka can do it in 5 touches, better midfielders might do it in 3. 1 if you can, 2 if you need, 3 if you have to in terms of touches. That's what I used to tell my boys when I used to coach. So, yeah, man, I just think we need to upgrade on that. But Xhaka could be part of the squad. And for me, I'm not seeing it as 30. Oh, my God, he's 30. He's 29. He's 30. We got to get rid of him. Oh, my God. But we do need to look for that long-term replacement, whether it's going to be Telemans in that advanced 8. Someone else is going to grow in that role. And again, if Xhaka gets injured, we're in trouble, really. All the talk is about Partey makes our team click. That is true. But Xhaka's one of the first names on the team sheet. And whether you like it or not, his role is arguably as vital to Partey, as Partey's role. And to be fair, Xhaka's one of the first names on the team sheet. He's one of the most reliable players. He's Arteta's lieutenant, really. He's our captain in all but thingy. Shout out Odegaard. But we all can see it's clearly Xhaka. We saw it in the all or nothing and all these things that have come out. So, yeah, man. It is what it is in that regards. Lovely. That's the first timestamp for the day. Smash the like button if you haven't, people. We must have 100 likes. I'm buying it. I can't even see my live stream. I ain't even got YouTube Manager loaded up. Oh, 66 likes. Maybe I shouldn't have pre'd it. But yeah, man. It is what it is. Reason I want Telemans so much is his want for our team. He wants to play for Arsenal, and I think this will push him to play his best if signed. Mags, I hear that, but wanting to play isn't good enough. I want to play for Arsenal. I'm not going to fare well at fullback, innit? I hear it. I'm taking Telemans. I do think some Arsenal fans are putting him on a level he's not. I don't quite think he transforms our midfield instantly. Maybe he can grow into that role if he irons out the edges in his game and obviously gets better at the things that he's good at and becomes great. I'm having Telemans, obviously. Respectfully to Wells, I don't think Wells is the best example, but Telemans look lit in that. So yeah, man, I'm having Telemans. I'm trying to take Douglas Luiz because obviously these guys are not world beaters, but suddenly you grab 1-2 couple of these guys, your squad is better. Look at Liverpool initially. You know, at the time they signed Salah, if you was watching Italy, you saw Italian football. Sorry, you saw what he was doing, but he wasn't. Man weren't rating him like that. They grabbed him. They grabbed Amane from Southampton, Robertson from Hull, Joe Gomez historically from Charlton, and there's probably some other examples. And obviously, there's more glamorous. But suddenly, you get these players. You've got a decent sort of squad. At the time, half the time, maybe not so much in present day, but Kevin De Bruyne weren't seen as a sexy. If he was watching Bundesliga, he played at the Emirates Cup before he signed for City. They were saying they spent too much money. How did that work out? So yeah, man. Do you think Parker is a suitable candidate to replace Southgate? Not necessarily. I think you might have to just go in the FA pyramid and go for someone that's already been that ties in with what the FA want to do. I don't know. My guess would have been Potter. If you offer Potter the England job now, you'd have to consider it. It's the biggest job you're ever going to get in your life. It's to manage your country and that. But he's just signed for Chelsea, which is a massive job in itself. So realistically, I think Southgate, it all depends how much Southgate stinks up the place at the World Cup, because he might not necessarily lose his job for all that he's saying. Trust me, DJ, like, man, don't watch that. Xhaka has been advanced from when, like, November last year. I feel Telemans in a better team will be better, 100%. I think Zinchenko played rubbish for City, but he seems to have found his place in Arsenal. So, same might apply for Telemans. Not gonna lie, I'm hoping more than assuming. I think it's a bit harsh to say he played terrible. You know, you look at the last game, he kicked a ball for City, come off the bench and changed the game. DG taking Harry Pinero over Maguire. Obviously, I'm taking a professional footballer, but for the culture, yeah, Harry, 100%. 2 6s and an 8. Telemans and Sergi, Milinkovic, Savic, and Locatelli, or I don't know what else she said. What? Hear that? Foden looks quality for City, but I don't understand why I can't cut it for England. Who really looks wavy for England? And obviously, when you're surrounded by them, no player can do it by themselves, but when you're surrounded by them stars, it's a lot easier. You know, you saw England are going to struggle on the transition. You saw a number of times a counter attack, losing the ball. Didn't matter if it's a defender, winger, striker, just cut open. Playing this high line as well. You're playing a high line with Harry Maguire. That is the first red flag, anyways. Like, I actually think Maguire is a decent defender and can play Premier League, and he could do a role for United, go in a purple patch of form and all of that. But, you know, he's not going to take you out the hood. The top 6 team and England, I think it's a bit of a joke. And Maguire's one of the most hazardous players. This is someone that plays for United, played for Leicester, plays for England. You know, come through Sheffield United, Steel City and all of that. Been at Hull. He's been in the Championship where you have to really defend. And he's an accident waiting to happen. And it's got to the point now, you know, anyone that's played Sunday League, he's them players that he's going to make other man play shit. Sort of thing. You're not gonna be able to play how you want to play because you're shook. The type of football Southgate is playing with these set of players is a criminal offense. But he's not the guy, man. He's not the guy. Some chatty patty centre back instead of just getting better at defending. Maguire is a joke, man. Amen. Xhaka aging like fine wine. In all seriousness, I like what he does, but he's far too stiff and not enough flavors. There's not quite enough pizzazz. He could play in games. But that's our problem. It's like when we had Giroud. Giroud was always a decent player. But suddenly when you take someone that should be utilized as a squad player and you're trying to make them start week in, week out, there's issues. We saw it last season. You know, El Nene, Holding, Cedric, Tavares, they all came in at times and made mistakes, but also played well in their part to get our season going and fighting for top 4. But when you have to rely on them more than you need to, you're in trouble. There's always a normal, you will always get them crazy, you know, Chelsea and United, Chelsea away, United at home, Tavares moving mad, good, bad, and the ugly. But in general, all in all, he had a good performance. I can't really give you an example, but there was a time, and I don't want to praise Cedric, but I've got to be fair, there was a time Cedric did all right last year. Holding came in at times, you know, looking at West Ham away, and El Nene did his thing on occasion. But when you rely on these guys beyond them mad moments, you're going to sign up for things. You know, what a off topic, yeah, because of so many things, especially with Maguire. What a goal it was from Shai Havertz as well. What a finish from him. But big up Saka, the real 1v1 demon, man. We do this thing, not on shit academy. We really do this thing on the international stage, not on shit academy pitches against under 8s and that. Crazy. I don't know for them, man. Much love, DG. I still find it amazing that rival fans don't rate Saka. They cannot rate him. Let them not rate. You know, let them not rate. Like, it's irrelevant, you know. Like, let them not rate. You know, why are we buzzing? Why are we bugging about other people's opinions? Fuck that. Even Arsenal fans, if they don't rate, boy, it is what it is. We welcome and champions difference of opinions, but are you going to lose any sleep about what the next person thinks? It's the agenda. There's probably guys at Arsenal, well, Arsenal fans, probably players we don't rate at other teams. Forget them. Let them not rate him. You know, Saka, keep doing what you're doing. How confident are you for the North London Derby DG? What is confidence? Confidence, you know, we're going to have to really break down that word, you know, confidence. I don't know what confidence is. It's very subjective. It could be interpreted a lot of different ways. I'm confident as long as we turn up, you know, hopefully we've trained well. Hopefully we work really hard. Hopefully we win our 1v1 battles. And if we do any of that, we have half the chance. But I don't know, to answer your question. Now, obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I hope we can win. Let's just see what happens on Saturday, mate, at 12:30. Political Palmer in full effect, man. I'm acting like I'm giving press conferences and that. Stop spamming, my bro, please. We need a box-to-box, like Aaron Ramsey style player. Can we get a Kovacic or a Santi first? A bit of drip on the ball first, and then do all of that? Moretti is a baller, but don't see him leaving Juventus anytime soon. Amen. Man said Maguire used to be a good player. Used to be. I've always said England won't win nothing until the team is African. Then they'll win something. Bro, hey, chill, man, chill. I think when you look at France, when you look at England, when you look at Brazil, it champions diversity, and especially whenever France wins something, there's ish going around. 200 of you like the thing, team. I appreciate that. I fear for us in midfield, if Partey doesn't make it, it has to be Zinchenko playing 6. Unpopular opinion. Obviously, we still have to defend, but there's no point. You know, Zinchenko, in a nice way, ain't got a defensive bone in his body. So why make him do that? Why don't we switch up the program and focus on what we actually can do, sort of thing? Which is, obviously, we have to defend, but double down on, you know, the more Wengerable sort of things. You know, if there's any issues, I'd rather do that. You know, I'll always pick El Nene at this moment in time over Lokonga, even though Lokonga needs to play a lot more, but there's no El Nene. I'd rather Odegaard as an A and try something with Zinchenko or Vieira in midfield, then deploy Lokonga. Of course, I hope Lokonga does his thing, but yeah, we just have to be a bit switched on, but we might as well double down on what we actually can do rather than trying to do something we can't. It's crazy how you call up players to see them performing internationally and don't play them. Can you explain that if you can? I can't. You'd have to talk with Southgate. You know what I would say? I don't, you know, Maguire, you know, not Maguire, Tony and Tomori must have been there just to do Deliveroo in the squad or just there for the vibes. But as an international manager, obviously you can watch the games. You probably want to see them up and close and personal in training. Probably just wanted to see what he's like, you know, in training, wanted to show him that it can be done. But, you know, Tony probably knows himself that I'm probably not going to the World Cup. Really. I hope he does, because he's something different. But, you know, you've got probably, you know, Sterling can play up front. You know, I don't know if he'll call up Marcus Rashford, but you'd imagine, you know, you've got Tammy Abraham should go. Harry Kane's there. You've got Sterling that could play there. You might grab a Rashford or something. I don't think he'll go with 4 strikers. I see him being able to do the Jorginho role. He can, but Jorginho's frail defensively. Like, for all the ball draws he wins and all of that stuff, you know, I hear you. We'd have to still be switched on defensively, but there's no point trying to deploy man as 6s. Everyone just has to have a added more defensive responsibility. But then again, everyone just focus on what you're good at. Pardon me. If my number 10s are injured, I'm not gonna look at and think who's the most creative guy out of the ones we have left and put him in as a 10. If I know he's not, we might as well go with a flat midfield 3 or switch up the program and focus on what we're good at. Sort of thing. So yeah, man. Are you keen on getting Moretti at Arsenal? I'd love it, but it just seems like paper talk, hype, and just ultimately nonsense. Would you throw Lokonga into the Lions then on Saturday? I mean, end of the day, you're in the squad. You wanted to play for Arsenal. You cry about not playing. Get your opportunity and take it. And, you know, these things will make you a better player. So I'm inclined to say yes. But a part of me would say no, because as much as I'm about developing people for tomorrow and growing and all these things, we need to get top 4 today, this season. And obviously, other more experienced players can make mistakes, but I'd rather lean towards players where I have a bit more confidence in than Lokonga at this moment. That's why I would always champion Lokonga playing ahead of El Nene. But if we're just trying to do this 3 points thing, build momentum, I'd always lean to, at this moment in time with what we're trying to do, I'd lean towards it fit El Nene, because Lokonga, not that El Nene can't play better or doesn't play well. I just know without a ball being kicked, El Nene might give me minimum of 5 or 6 out of 10. And that's cool. That's not a criticism if everyone else does their job. Lokonga might be 20 million out of 10. He might be 4 out of 10. And you've got to sign up for that volatility. And especially we've already got volatility within our side. You know, Saka, Martinelli, these guys are not going to score all the time. They're going to miss chances they should have. You know, there's little brain farts defensively between Gabriel, Ben White, Saliba, Ramsdale, and even Zinchenko defensively. So, yeah, man. Saka should be one of the first names in the England team. Tomori has. Never mind Maguire. How is Luke Shaw in the England setup? I don't know, but I like Luke Shaw, innit? I can understand that. He ain't played for time. He's picking favourites, but I think Luke Shaw is decent. He's just a bit of a Bedino. I genuinely think Maguire is shit. Saka and Mount changed the game with their energy, but you also have to big up the rest of the team. And also the goal scorers in Luke Shaw and... Did Reece James score? Why do I think Reece James scored? Did he put in a cross? There was just so many goals to keep hold of. England. Kane scored the pen, you know. It wouldn't be an Harry Kane game without a penalty. He's sure Mount. Yeah, that was it. Saka assisting it. But hey, Ivan Toney, if you want to play for England, play for England. But, you know, be careful. You're not that one cap and done. You know, I think you're of Jamaican and St. Vincent heritage. Maybe you could have went and played for them. If England's your dream, do your thing. And it's a great look for Tony, because he didn't work out. He left Northampton, didn't work out for him at Newcastle, scored a bag of goals for Brentford and obviously Peterborough. He's never been called up to any England camps before from youth level till now. It's a good look. It shows it can be done. That's inspiring the others, but that's where it could probably stop, really. The derby is one of those games where men are going to be in the trenches. You're throwing in your fullback soldiers. Ben White don't deserve to be dropped, but if Tomiyasu could go in, I'd say yes. I'm definitely playing Tierney ahead of Zinchenko, but at the same time, you know, they play a back three. They're going to congest the midfield with Bentancur and Højbjerg. Zinchenko, depending on what the game set up like, Zinchenko could fly into midfield. I hear you, DG. Odegaard, we need to do more off the ball. Exactly, everyone's got you. And to be fair, I think Odegaard's all right defensively, as much as a pretty boy number 10 is. He presses well. He's up there for the metrics. He leads from the front. He does put in a shift. Last season, he was almost defending a bit too much. I remember Old Trafford away, he gave away a penalty. Kind of don't want to be the areas. But yeah, we have improved. We're an improved defensive side. We're not a good defensive side, in my opinion. Yes, there's good building blocks. We're craving a clean sheet a bit more. But I think for what I think a consistent top 4 team should be, or team that is aspiring to do more, we've got a long way to go. We've still got bad habits. We've still got brain farts. We've still got nervy moments. And you're not going to unlearn bad habits and promote good habits overnight. Like I said, if we're in the car, we're looking at the sat nav, we're going in the right direction, but we haven't quite reached the destination yet. I can see us grabbing full points from Spurs and Liverpool. Hope so, but games aren't won on YouTube. They're won on the pitch. And against Spurs, we know we're playing 12, maybe 13 players. You know, we're playing the ref and the VAR. You know, Son's gonna do his best Tom Daly impression. You know, Kane's gonna score / get a penalty. We know they're gonna be kicking us from pillar to post. We should know what to expect. I don't know for both teams what the players are, how the players are like physically. Some players have played in international, some haven't. Some have flown, some have, having to travel more than others. So it all depends, really. There's rumors around injuries surrounding both teams. Maybe it's a bit of cap, but yeah, man, we really do hope our players are fit, man. Let's hope so. I mean, you'd imagine Odegaard played for Norway. You'd imagine he's there. And apparently, in relation to Zinchenko, Arsenal are positive about that. Dennis, I don't know why your comment ain't coming up. I don't know why it's coming up. I don't know why it's deleted. But you said predictions for the North London derby. Listen, I don't have any predictions, man. I wish I had some predictions. I hope we start well. I hope it's a carbon copy of last year. I hope we start well. Obviously, hope we win the game. I hope we ride off the energy levels of the fans. I hope we show street smartness, because when you look around, not just the Gaffer and Conte versus Arteta, but their players, they're more street smart than us. Richarlison, Højbjerg, Harry Kane, Son, they're more. I don't even like the word experience, but the experience, that's an advantage. That's a disadvantage for us. I just hope everyone mentally is prepared, really. So I hope so. I think it'll be a draw, to be honest with you. I think it'll be a 1-1 thing. Obviously, I hope we win. If you can't win, don't lose. Get some momentum going into Liverpool. Hopefully, Gabriel Jesus doesn't pick up a yellow card, but I think it's a foregone conclusion, because we're going to need him to make those tactical fouls. And we're going to miss Jesus at some point. It's probably naive to assume until we get to game week 19 that he's not going to get a yellow when there's a kind of amnesty around the yellow cards and potential bans, and it goes from five yellow cards to 10 or something like that. So I don't know. 10 more likes and we've hit 100 people. One love in advance. Do you think we have a chance of signing Aouar from Lyon? Well, he's contracted until 2023. His stock's falling. You probably could get him substantially cheaper than the summer we tried to grab him in it. But I don't really believe them rumours. I don't know what's going on. He's been linked with Arsenal and City over the last 24 hours. Obviously, Aouar was hot property. He was playing for Lyon. He was earmarked to get called up for France. You know, Pep Guardiola waxing lyrical about him. Every football fan waxing lyrical. Looked like one of them French players coming out of wherever France are developing these players. Very cultured. But you can't go respectfully from being linked with Arsenal, City, Man United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Juventus, Barcelona. Man, are getting linked with Betis and Leicester